I'm Andrew Kraft. I want to bring into the conversation right now. I have Brian Sobel on the line. He watched the debate. He's a political strategist and analyst. We've spoken to Brian many times in the past. Brian, good to see you here. I know the debate just wrapped up. We're going to dive into some of these key highlights as well. What did you make of it? Because, you know, this was the second chance these candidates had the opportunity to make their case to Republican primary voters and the American people. And you know, having just watched it and seen some of the reaction on social media, it doesn't seem like anyone came out on top. There were no clear breakthrough moments.
No, and Andrew, I think what we saw tonight was, in the case of a lot of these candidates, the 2.0 version. Ramaswamy, the statement that he made about, you know, he's aggressive, he's young, but he's got energy and he's hungry. And you saw that each candidate had looked at their first debate and went through a process of deciding what worked and what didn't work. DeSantis, to me, this evening looked a lot different. Nikki Haley, I thought, was steady as she was in the first debate. And I thought that that Mike Pence was kind of, in a sense, a little bit of an afterthought. One of the things with him, Andrew, is that as these candidates are attacking, as an example, the trillions of dollars added to the debt by the Trump administration, by extension, Mike Pence is involved with that. And he's trying to distance himself from Donald Trump, but he was vice president. So he's got a tough thing to work with there. A couple of the other people on the stage, okay. I thought Chris Christie looked better tonight.
Okay, so Brian, while we have you with us, we want to just show some of the highlights from the debate that we have kind of picked out for the viewers, in case they watched it on the Fox Business Network or in case they did not. But yet again, there was so many back and forths between Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley. And I just want to play that for some of the viewers. Let's watch this one.
Every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say, because I can't believe that here you've got a TikTok situation. What they're doing is these 150 million people are on TikTok. That means they can get your contacts, they can get your financial information, they can get your emails, they can get text messages, they can get all of these things.
This is very important for our party.
Exactly what they're doing.
This is very important for our party, and I'm going to say
you've gone and you've helped China make medicines in China, not America. You're now wanting kids to go and get on the social media that's dangerous for all of us. You went and you were in business with the Chinese that gave Hunter Biden $5 million. We can't trust you. We can't trust you.
Okay, so Brian, Nikki Haley getting quite personal there, telling Vivek Ramaswamy, every time you speak, I get dumber. It did seem like the knives were out for Nikki Haley, of course, after the last debate, the first debate there in Milwaukee. She saw somewhat of a bump in the polls and in her fundraising. So was she the one to beat tonight?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Andrew. I think if we wanted to phrase it differently, she was the one that needed to be knocked down a peg by these other candidates. And she, I think, comported herself well, one woman on the stage of 7 people. And you could see she's willing to go toe-to-toe with people. I mean, when she told Tim Scott to bring it on, she obviously is there to debate, and she's a policy master. But there are other people on that stage that, are her equal in many of the policy areas and in trying to understand the American people. I thought, setting aside all of the yelling at each other and lack of control by the moderators, which isn't their fault, it just becomes kind of a 3-ring circus. I think there were some nuggets that we heard tonight about particularly China, which was not very much a subject in the first debate, but is becoming an increasing subject as we move forward towards the presidential election.
Yeah, of course, these clips courtesy of Fox Business Network. We see right now, this is happening live, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum speaking there in the spin room. I mean, Brian, some of these lower tier candidates, when are they going to stop, or rather start, to really drop out, to coalesce around a second place candidate there? Of course, Trump is in first right now. Is Doug Burgum going to be one of them? I mean, he made and he qualified this debate there. You see him walking on, but did he get much time tonight?
No, and somebody like the governor and Asa Hutchinson
Right.
and some of these lower tiered candidates, they really should move on for the party, actually, and for the debate that the Republicans want to have. I think Dana Perino pointed out that, there must be a calculation about how you're going to obtain the nomination. We heard her ask that question tonight, kind of sophomoric with the write down the guy you want off the island or whatever. But setting that aside, it is true that some of these people are never going to be nominated and really need to take a hard look at it. I would like to see, 3 to 4 people on the stage really going at it.
Yeah, and of course we did hear from Asa Hutchinson. I mean, he didn't make the stage tonight, but he said they're going to kind of reassess around Thanksgiving and maybe later into the fall and early winter. We'll see some of these candidates drop out, coalesce around some of these other higher polling candidates as well. One of those, though, former New Jersey Governor Brian Chris Christie, he's the one that has really staked his campaign, at least the campaign's message, going after Donald Trump directly, and he did that tonight. Kind of came up with a funny nickname, kind of tongue-in-cheek, going after Trump for not attending the debates at all. I want to play that soundbite here. Let's watch.
Sure.
We've got to bring law and order back to this country, and not just in our cities, but we need law and order back everywhere. We need law and order back in our suburbs. People are threatened there. We need it in our rural areas. People feel threatened there. And we need it in Washington, D.C. also. And Donald Trump should be here to answer for that, but he's not. And I want to look at that camera right now and tell you, Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
All right.
Okay, so Brian, obviously Chris Christie somewhat pleased with himself with that nickname he came up with there. I don't know if it was in the moment or kind of canned and he used it beforehand.
Andrew, it was not in the moment.
Okay, but to Chris Christie's point, I mean, does Donald Trump even need to be at these debates? Obviously, it would be nice, for Republican primary voters to hear from him yet again. We showed his entire remarks there in Detroit tonight, talking about the UAW strike. But he is the elephant not in the room. But does that do any of them a service that he's not there, or a disservice?
Well, to the extent that the people on the stage over the last 2 debates where Donald Trump wasn't, they got more airtime. I mean, they got more time to talk. But I think all of the kind of the back and forth, the accusations and everything else would be magnified if Donald Trump were there. But the problem with Donald Trump not being there and making excuses for not being there is, as somebody said, I think it was Chris Christie, has said, it's disrespectful. And I think that's the thing here. Now, maybe it won't matter a whit. Maybe the people who are looking for a Republican candidate don't care that Donald Trump is there or not. But, in the history of American politics, we have people getting out there and greeting the voters and debating their opponents. And so him not being there, Donald Trump not being there, again, it strikes me as somewhat disrespectful.
Okay, so I just want to go into the issues. I mean, do you think, I want to contrast, from the first debate to this debate. I was in Milwaukee. I thought the issues really were gotten into in Milwaukee. Was that the case here, or was there just bickering? Did the moderators really have a hard time, reining these candidates in?
Yes. I think, even at a couple of points, the moderators were kind of stepping on each other's sound bites and all of that. There are 3 of them there. That's tough. I know they wanted Univision to be a part of it for Latino and Hispanic voters. Totally get that. But 3 is a lot of people, 7 on the stage. So you have 10 people trying to interact. And whether you're going to get a whole lot of content is really the question. Yeah. I thought there was some content tonight. And I thought they did talk about some issues they didn't talk about in the first debate. I thought they got much deeper into education, as an example.
Okay, yeah. Because
transgender issues, things like that. Those didn't come up the first debate. They were front and center tonight.
Yeah, because that is a storyline of these debates. How did the moderators do, whether or not order was kept. And we can I want to play this next kind of exchange here, and you can see it kind of devolve. Let's watch, courtesy of Fox Business Network.
We get certain things done. If we want to get things done, here's how we get it done in Washington. We must find a way.
Can we please respect the time?
We can get it. Some of us are painted, but the bottom line is when you say bottom paper.
Thank you for speaking while I'm interrupting. While I'm speaking.
Well, you said bottom paper.
If I may finish.
You can't be on both sides.
Gentlemen, you'll have your turn.
Next subject.
Can I just say one thing?
China is investing. If you talk over everybody, we lose time.
Okay, so Brian, just lastly here, I know you got to go. You got to do a lot of TV tonight. Final thoughts.
Overall, I liked hearing some new subjects. I liked the new versions of these candidates. They clearly went back, retooled every single one of them, retooled how they were going to present their platforms, what they were going to concentrate on. I thought, setting aside the circus-like atmosphere that seems to attend all of these, I thought if a viewer sat down and watched for 2 hours, they came away with a better idea of who they like as we move forward. And if that's the litmus test, success.
All right, Brian Sobel there. As always, we do appreciate your insight into all of this. We know we're still so early. I mean, campaign season really is kicking off. Of course, we now know when the third RNC primary debate is going to be, November the 8th there in Miami. Brian, thanks so much.
You're very welcome, Andrew. Have a great night.